What is up, everyone? Welcome to the show. Today's guest I've known for quite a while. Back when Max and I had our agency with Kevin Harrington, he was a good friend of Kevin's, and we created a relationship. Almost did some business together, but for whatever reason, the timing wasn't right. Who knows what the future holds? His name is Doug Scott. Awesome dude, very successful business guy, just really wise and sharp guy that I remember when I first met him, which was in my mid-20s. I was like, I want to be successful like Doug when I grow up. And so he's just always a guy I've looked at as, what a definition of success, should be, right? And I don't say that often about too many people, but I've always just felt he was a good guy and, looked up to him at a young age. And it's probably why I, annoy him via text at times back in the day, and I'd be like, "Hey, Doug, let's work together. Let's do something." Because I don't know. There's certain people you just gravitate towards in life, and it's weird how that happens. But we talk a lot about how to be a great leader, how to partner with great people, how to just treat people right and build success through treating people right in life. I think that's so important. There's some stigma out there that some of the wealthiest people are assholes and they're greedy and blah, blah, blah. And I talked about this on my last episode. From my experience, it's the exact opposite. Of course, there are those assholes out there that are wealthy, but overwhelmingly, the wealthiest people that I know are some of the most generous. They care about their team a lot. They care about people a lot. They care about their families a lot. So overall, it was a good conversation, and it was great to catch up with them. I know you'll enjoy the episode.
This is Openly Outspoken with Jeremy Adams, where differing opinions are not only accepted, they're encouraged.
All right, Doug, we're live. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, brother.
So, we were just talking about Burns Steakhouse, which for anybody that lives in Central Florida or that comes to Central Florida, it's in Tampa. It's one of the best steakhouse experiences probably in the country. They have a huge private wine collection and tour. They also tour you to the kitchen too. I didn't even tell you about that, but
Wow.
part of the transition from dinner to dessert is they tour the wine room and then they tour the kitchen, which you can kind of see everything pop. And when it's busy, that kitchen is cranking, as you can imagine.
Wow.
So it's pretty impressive to just see that level of operation. And they walk you up to the dessert room. So let me know what you think after you go.
Absolutely. Sure.
So what's been going on, man?
I think it's crazy. I mean, obviously we came out of 2020, as COVID crazy, and crazy as it may sound, it was probably, and I don't want to minimize the severity of it because I actually got COVID in early December, and I had it for roughly around 11 days. Out of those 11 days, there was 3 days that were kind of rough, like pretty rough, but nothing that's really catastrophic. But when you look back at 2020, it was probably the best thing that could have happened within our businesses because it forced us to pivot and rethink how we do business. And coming out of it, all three of my businesses all had the best years they've had in 5 years. Well, the anti-aging business was the best year, that we had. We've only been open a year and a half, but it was a great year and we turned profit. But the other two best years in revenue, that we've had, in 5+ years. So, kind of a blessing in disguise, but certainly don't want to minimize it. But we're excited about how things are going to move in 2021.
Yeah, for sure. And we also had a record year. So it is interesting how some businesses and people's lives were destroyed and others
Right.
were. I think that always happens in any type of recession, right? Some people benefit and
Right.
some people get destroyed. Why do you think your businesses had record years?
Think obviously, you have some small businesses that got some manna from heaven from PPP money, and getting that. But really, I think the secret sauce of why we really moved upward is, our digital distribution. Like, our main core competency is we're video content, and we distribute it through everything from digital to OTT to television, right? And so when you look at companies that were going in retail or in retail, when people weren't shopping, they moved to the online to push it out through, straight to the consumer. And our offerings and our packages and our services really help companies that have a product or a host of products to be able to go to the consumer and sell. So I think that was a big play into it. And then, staying within the silos and verticals of, healthy living, nutraceuticals, things like that. It all helped out.
So are your main businesses, so I understand, you have the TV production company, right? And then you have your creative agency, and then you recently launched the anti-aging company?
Right.
And how's the TV production company, the last time we chatted, was doing really well. So you even had a record year on that side of things too?
Yeah, we did. I mean, the TV production company side is kind of the main mothership of the business. It's been open. I started it in '97. And we've grown pretty significantly. We've had a couple crazy years back in '08, '09 with the housing, mess and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's like the main business. And so that's the video production side of it, where we do, long form and short form, content, and then push it out digitally, for our clients. And then the agency side of it was just an acquisition that I did in 2016. It was a good complement to the production company because we had saw that some of our clients within the production side really weren't, up to par on the side of digital website development, e-commerce, social media marketing, SEO. So it was a good acquisition because it's a great lead gen from one company to another, a good warm handoff, and it allows us to help our clients be for success once we push out their content and campaigns, because you got to have a seamless offering and a good solid presence when we start pushing people to websites and to landing pages and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. That was wild. I think this was 2015 or 16, but we almost partnered back in the day. Almost.
Really close. I remember it was you, Max, and a dude named Eric.
Ian.
And then I was really close on doing something with you and Max, and I'm certainly open to doing things with you guys because, I'm 54, I'm old, right? I mean, so you and Max being young guys, I always get, super excited and have a lot of respect for what you've been able to do from a business perspective, starting your food truck business, scaling that, selling that, doing another business. You've always found the abilities to really kind of get into markets at the right time and be successful. So kudos to you for sure, and certainly would open any opportunities.
Yeah, man, for sure. I appreciate that. And we have almost completely transitioned out of the client business. We both got exhausted and we're just losing a lot of passion. Not that we still are open to very boutique and select opportunities with the owners are cool and we think it's a good opportunity and it's a mutually beneficial relationship from a consulting side or whatever. But we've been focusing more on building our own brands. I don't know if you know this, but we own proudpatriots.com. It's a conservative and political collectibles.
Wow.
I'll have to send you a little swag, little gift bag of stuff. But as you can imagine, we've been doing really well with that store. Even with Facebook and Google banning a lot of our ads, we've been finding some alternative traffic sources and record numbers across the board the last few months. And we're just super grateful. And what's happened to me is I'm pretty open with my political viewpoints. I'm more libertarian, so I lean conservative on things. I lean, pretty progressive on certain things. But what I've started to love this company because a lot of our products are American made. We're providing a lot of US jobs. People love the products when they get them. They love, I've given these products to people, we'll send you some. I mean, people put them on their desk. They love them. They're cool products. And I mean, I think it's awesome we're able to have a business where we sell products that are American made. We're creating American jobs, and where people are genuinely happy when they buy them. So I've kind of, and I've shifted more conservative during the lockdowns. I went from like, I felt pretty like down the middle, like, I don't really care too much either way. I just want to live my life, to like, F this government overreach. And then I'm like, you know what I mean? It's wild how that shifted me. But I'm like, I have zero trust in government, even less than I did before.
Sure.
But anyway.
Sure. That's cool. I'd love to check that out. And listen, I think we're on the same page as far as our political views, right? Like, I mean, let's put it out there. My guy didn't win, right? Well, he won, but didn't win, right? And so, but I look at it from this perspective as an American, right? Whoever's in office, I'm going to support and get behind because I'm an American, and I'm proud to be American. I'm grateful to be in America. So I'll get behind and support our president, right? But that doesn't change the way I feel from a conservative standpoint. But I'm pretty open-minded as it relates to people's, agendas and people's passions. And so we'll see what the next 4 years hold.
Yeah, and Biden himself, like, if you look from a strict policy standpoint, Biden and Trump aren't that far off. If you look at
Not far.
Yeah, if you look at like the wall and stuff, Biden, even though I did see something, they're like maybe considering a fence or something now instead of a wall, or it's like the funniest shit I've ever seen. But yeah, from a policy standpoint, they're not super far off. I think obviously the VP is potentially more of a worry for moderates and conservatives, but
same.
Biden, there's nothing about Biden, and I think that's probably why Biden ended up being I wouldn't have ever guessed him being president, but he's like hard to hate. Like,
right.
Like Hillary was like hateable.
Right.
Like, but Biden and even Trump is hateable by like the left. But Biden is really hard to hate, just Biden as a human. And that could be why, he is where he is.
Let's keep him healthy for the next 4 years.
Yeah, you know what what Bill Maher was talking about was, because I think Nikki Haley is going to be a really strong candidate to run for president in 2024. And if assuming Biden's not going to run again, this is a 4 years and done, one term and done thing. It could be two Indian American women with Kamala and Nikki Haley on like competing against each other. Like, how wild would that be in 2024?
That would be crazy.
Yeah. So
I like chances over Kamala for sure.
Yeah, Nikki Haley. There's some strong younger Republicans that, if you are a conservative leaning American, you should get really excited about, like Tim Scott and Nikki Haley and Dan Crenshaw and just people like that are younger. But anywho, so I have a question for you. It's something I've always wanted to ask you, Doug.
Oh gosh.
I feel like I view you as a guy I'd even like from a success standpoint even like look up to. It's like, hey, I want to continue to build wealth and be more successful in business and stuff like that. One thing I've never understood, I feel like you're super, super busy. And I'm just like, I want to have Doug's success and accolades and wealth, but I don't want to be as busy as Doug. Is that just in my head, or are you super busy?
No, you hit it right on, right? I mean, and I think you can tell from how we didn't connect on the time we should have here. But yeah, I think that's kind of like for me been my pain point. And it's only because I ventured into another business, in 2019, which really was a passion, right? That turned into a business. But I probably work as much now than I did when I started the company, in 1997. I was completely dead broke, in 97. So like for me, working 50 hours a week, not making a lot of money, was okay. Fast forward now 23 years where I've got some stability and I've got some financial freedom to get back into this and to move forward the way I'm moving forward. It is definitely one of my goals in 2021 to like be a little bit more selective and a little bit more intentional and blocking out time, right? Because I remember you and I having a conversation long time ago about how you wanted to work like 4 hours a day, right? Or like small increments. And for me, I was like, I never knew that. I've always worked hard, worked hard, worked hard. And then before starting Forever Young, my anti-aging business, I was probably at, 20, 25 hours a week. I'd put upper level management into my companies, and was letting them run the day-to-days and was just doing some high level thinking and strategy, and it was cool. And then I turned this passion of health and fitness into a business, which turns out to be a profitable one. And now I'm kind of like just trying to manage my time effectively, because I also have, 4 kids. I've got, one of them playing at the University of Florida, and is going to be going into the draft in June. So like my schedule and my time, without any reservation, it needs to be, God family business. And that's what it'll be in 2021 for sure. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. What is it like having your son playing in University of Florida? I imagine you're pretty proud of him.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm proud of all my kids, for sure. I mean, they all play sports, they're all active, but like for my oldest son, Christian, I mean, I remember him when, he was a little kid, and I've coached all my kids, all 4 of my kids, I've coached their sports. And like my Christian wasn't even the best player, as a kid, right? I mean, he wasn't even the best player on the team. He wasn't even in the middle, like he like hit 5th and played second base because he was the coach's son. And then, he really found passion in baseball. So we invested in private lessons and invested in a lot, built a batting cage in my backyard, really kind of invested in him. And then, one summer from 12 to 13, he grew 4 inches and put some weight on. And now he really, really kind of shined. And, he's a 21-year-old that throws 96. He's on the #1 ranked team in the country, and he'll go in the top 3-4 rounds, in June. So super, super happy for him for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. And he'll obviously, in the top few rounds, you get that nice signing bonus in the MLB. So that'll be, I'm sure, pretty exciting for him.
Yep.
How does that work? Is it like a paid over time? Is it just a deposit when the contract's signed? How does that signing bonus work?
So it's interesting because it used to be like that, and it would be slotted, right? So every single pick in each round was slotted with a certain amount of money. And then COVID hit, and it kind of threw things in array. Teams were losing money left and right. So then the signing bonuses are paid over time, but it's traditionally paid, in a sum. You've got taxes, and you've got your agent and things like that. But it's slotted, right? So like, in today's grand scheme of things, a 3rd round pick can get $1 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for him, he's just grateful that he's going to be able to be picked and go play for a team. But he's certainly expecting, to get a decent bonus.
Yeah, what's interesting about baseball, and like we're obviously both huge baseball fans, we'll have to see some spring games, by the way. But
dude, Braves and Red Sox in the World Series, I feel it.
The Red Sox, they're rebuilding, bro. There's no way.
We have no shot. No shot.
I would take Devers though to play third base. I'd send a package to have him back. The interesting thing about baseball and like a lot of other pro sports is like there's no guarantee that these 1st or 2nd round picks are even going to make it to the show. So those signing bonuses are crucial for them.
Yeah, many don't. Many don't. They're pretty good, from a scouting perspective to see who's going to do well and who's not. And then you get Mike Piazza, who, is a Hall of Famer, and he was picked like almost dead last, right? And
Albert Pujols was late too.
Pujols too, right? So you just don't know. But yeah, man, they are really like projecting, but don't really know. And my favorite movie of all time is Moneyball, and I've watched it a bunch of times, and that's, you just don't know.
The good thing is probably, and I'm sure you already know this, pitchers, if there's one that's maybe a sure thing, pitchers seem to have that fast track, especially if they're a successful college pitcher. They can oftentimes make it to the majors in a year or two if they're they're good and they.
Yep.
But yeah, a position player. A lot of times those bats don't translate from high school to pros or college to pros. Yeah, I mean, there's position players that are top 10 that never even, they get the signing bonus, but they never even make it, or they have a cup of coffee and they fall out of favor.
I mean, if I was if I could give if any father with a young kid wanted advice from me, I would say be a left-handed pitcher, right? And run that way, because just statistically speaking, 30% of your roster is pitchers, right? And so a setup guy, a mid inning reliever in the major leagues makes 6, 7, 8 million a year. It's amazing. So absolutely.
What is Christian a lefty or righty?
He's a righty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing is about pitchers too, even if he's I'm assuming most high guys now, unless they're like absolute filth, are drafted as starters, right? And then somewhere along the way they transition them to relievers. Is that
correct?
Yeah.
Correct. I mean, you go to rookie ball or A as a starter, and then you'll quickly see where you go. Based on health, based on the ability to keep your velocity, based on your ability to throw strikes. I mean, if you have a guy that can throw strikes, he's going to be a good setup guy that may not have a lot of arm strength, right? And can't throw 80, 90, 100 pitches.
Yeah, we talked about Tukey Toussaint. As a Braves fan, he's very frustrating. He's like has no control. Yeah, you mentioned that. That's wild.
Yeah, that kid was a freak of nature in high school. Absolutely a beast. Was throwing 96, 97 as a 12th grader. But he just couldn't find the plate.
And he still can't, as a 23, 24-year-old guy that's worked his way through a system, and he has pro coaches, and he still has issues finding the zone. And it's he is probably one of the best curveballs in baseball, but just can't locate it, which is just unfortunate.
Hey, don't eat that. Working from home, I got my new puppy that's trying to eat the baseboard.
Yeah, that's all right, man. What kind of puppy?
It's a rescue dog. Come here, Bub. Come here. Come inside. It's basically, but when I see this one, that's crazy. This is a German Shepherd, a mom, and a Husky dad.
Oh wow. That's
nice little break there. Don't eat.
What's it, boy or girl?
It's a boy, and named after my favorite football team, Tennessee Titans. So he's a Titan. His name is Titan.
So Red Sox and the Titans, got it.
Yep.
What would you? If you could go back and tell it, because I'm 30 now. If you could go back and tell your 30-year-old self in like business and life, like give yourself advice at 30, what would you tell yourself?
I mean, it depends on where you're at, but I would say stay broke, meaning that like what I did when I first started making money, and again, I had nothing. And, in 5 years, I became a millionaire in 5 years, but it's because like there's a big difference between saving money and investing money. And for me, what I did when I started making money, and we talked about this when a long time ago, was I would save up enough money for a down payment on a rental property, and then empty my account and buy a rental. And I would do it again, empty it and buy a rental. I did that for 5 solid years, and that's really kind of started my mindset of having money work for me. So I would think, and then if someone said, hey, I've got $8 in my checking account, but I've got 7 properties, I would still consider myself broke, right? Because I just want to keep that moving. And so I think making money work for you would be one, and having your money work for you is one. And then the second one would be like, don't do anything that you're not passionate about. Like if you're not passionate about what you're doing right now, you need to find another thing to do, because passion is what drives creativity. It's what drives your mindset. And so like I was in a really, really crappy job when I first got out of college in the restaurant business, and I got out of it. and got into the production industry by luck. And then that moved me into being an entrepreneur. And so passion and having your money work for you.
Yeah, that you would be probably proud to know that I don't even have a car anymore, because I was like, why? I kind
The
of,
Tesla.
yeah, it was the best car I've ever had, even though I did just put a deposit on a Bronco. So I did tired.
I saw that.
I was so tired of not having a car. I missed you know what, just like driving and cruising, windows down, music, like maybe like longer drives that are more comfortable and fun. I miss that. I don't miss the city driving, sitting in traffic, so I'll still probably Uber for that. But I rationalized the investment because it's like, it was fun. It was fun for me, and I missed the just the cruising, windows down type, music blaring experience, and I hadn't had it in a while. But I, Max and I pay ourselves monthly salaries, and then we'll take quarterly distributions based on free cash flow and profitability. And I pretty much have it now where my monthly salary is almost 100% invested, and I live off of
awesome.
my distributions. So I treat myself as if I'm broke, basically. So I feel, although like we pay ourselves a decent little salary, it's all being automatically taken out of the bank account.
So where are you investing your money? What are the areas? I mean, are you like the Bitcoin dude, or are you doing real estate? What are you doing?
Mostly just into different mutual funds and stuff like that. I'm just a long-term play. I am probably the least qualified person to talk about stock advice, especially with all the crazy shit going on with Robinhood and all this stuff today.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't get into that. But I'm just playing the long-term game. I don't even look at it except maybe once a month. I'll just take a peek and see how it's going. I'm overfunding a life insurance policy too. That's kind of like a forced savings account. I think it'll get me like 6%, annualized. Plus I have the death benefit. It's
I've got the same thing with Northwestern Mutual. Where you at?
So I put like $1,500 a month in something like that too. I have nothing major. I have about a couple $100,000 in crypto. I got lucky with Bitcoin. I bought 4 Bitcoin back in 2017.
Wow.
At around 2,500 a piece. So that's where a lot of it came from. I mean, it was literally the guy that advised me to invest in it. He's like, only invest this money if you're okay never seeing it again.
Do you still have those Bitcoin?
I sold one, so I have 3 of them right now.
That's great. Good stuff.
So I sold one to get my initial cash back on the initial jump, and then I plan to just hold it for a long time.
Hold on. This dog's nuts. Come here. Yeah, chill. Come over here. This will be the funniest podcast. You have a guest feeding his dog. So what about real estate?
I haven't messed with real estate at all. I will probably. I envision messing with real estate when we have our first big exit. When I have just like what I'm hoping is a really large surplus of cash, where it's like I got to do something with this. But right now we're really focusing on our e-com brands and internal properties. And once we have this first big exit, which I'm very hopeful of, then I think I'll start looking into real estate, including a property for myself. I want to buy a house in like St. Pete or something like that on the water, where I can have a boat in the backyard and just live that lifestyle.
Good stuff, man.
So what questions do you have for me, Doug? You said you're gonna interview me on this on this podcast. Why don't you ask me a question?
All right, so let's do that. So yeah, if you're listening, like I was telling Jeremy, I said, listen, let's just wing it. Like, I don't know how much I have to offer, your listeners. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the most talented guy. But I'm pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at a lot of things, but not excellent, in everything. And like
what based on that though, you're the top fraction of 1%. I mean, based on you not being the smartest or whatever you just claimed, I mean, what was it then? How'd you get where you are if you weren't that talented?
communication, right? And the ability to, the ability to get people to all move in a single direction in a team environment and to perform and produce, right? And so like for me, when I started my company, I wrote 60% of our revenue for the first 2 to 3 years. Today, I don't write any of the revenue, right? I lead from, from that perspective, but good communication skills, finding talent and recruiting talent is so key, and keeping talent, right? I got to be honest with you. I've been a really shitty CEO in the past, and I've been a really good CEO. And today, I can confidently say I'm a pretty good CEO. But I learned, I learned the hard way. And my analogy of like being a good CEO is like, you can't keep your staff tightly wound and micromanaged. It's almost like I envision like, running my company and people. It's like holding a bird in your hand, like a little bird. You can't hold it too tight because you'll choke it, and you can't hold it too loose, it'll fly away. You got to give them autonomy, the ability to think outside the box and to have critical thinking, but also have systems in place that allows them to perform and to and to produce. It's just a learning perspective. But I would think I was telling Jeremy earlier, I said, let's just wing. I don't know how much people want to, can learn from me or get from me, but looking at you, I would say with all the distraction, like of a single guy, right? You're a single guy, are you?
Yeah.
Single guy. Like, what are the two most important things that you wake up to do every day?
Like, what do you mean by the most important things I wake up to do?
Are there things that like what are the two main goals that you have right now, in a business and personal life?
Well, I agree with you on relationships and not micromanaging. It's not in my DNA to micromanage. So even if I can't physically micromanage because I just so I have to find good talent. And I was partners with if you recall, Bruce, the founder of Brewster's Ice Cream, and those guys. And a couple of good things of advice he gave to me was always ask people if you can help, even if there's no chance in hell they would ever want your help. So he'd be like, I'll just like ask my VP if there's anything I could do to help. And he's like, he would never want my fucking help. Like, but he's like, at least I'm asking because it shows him I'm there to support him. Hey, Is there any way I can support you? He's like, he hasn't asked me for help in 20 years, but he's like, I'll ask. So I feel like I don't do it just for that purpose. Like if they truly needed something, I would be there. But most of the time, especially if they're in a skilled position, even if they wanted my help, there's not much I could do, right? But just showing that the team member is there, or that you're there for that team member.
Yeah.
And he also helped me figure out that his CEO, Jim, who's the former president of TCBY, very brilliant guy, like one of the greatest, leaders of a company I've ever seen, just how he runs meetings, how he treats people. I mean, he grew TCBY to over 3,000 international locations, right? I mean, massive growth. Only a handful of people in the world have done something like that. Jim, the CEO, like Jim is really easy to please. So Bruce like found it really difficult. Like, how do I motivate Jim? And Jim was just kind of a super simple guy. Just, hey, I'm here to do my job, whatever. But he figured out that taking care of his wife and doing nice things for his wife, Paula, was the best way to show Jim gratitude. So it's like doing nice things for his wife, buying her gifts. I don't think he gets, as far as I know, I don't think he gets much for Jim on Christmas. He gives it all to his wife, Paula. And that makes Jim happy. So just finding out what motivates each person is a little bit different. We assume that everybody's just motivated by their own personal success. And that is the case, especially a lot of younger people. But when people are getting a little older and they're building a family, and they may not be as motivated by their own success as taking care of their family, and all that seemed to be the case with. So I'm not perfect at that, but I do my best also to to find out, like, especially like key team members, how I can make them the most happy and how I can keep them motivated. So that, I feel like, on a day-to-day basis is just, how can I support my existing team?
Yeah, that's good. I look at it this way, and I do, like, instead of a State of the Union address, I do a State of the Studio address with my staff. And usually it's like we cram 60 some odd people in a conference room and it's all hot. But now with COVID, we did it on Zoom. And I was telling them, I said, number one, I'm like, I'm beyond grateful that I can, sit here and talk to you guys, as your leader. But at the end of the day, like, we have customers. Like, our customers are, we have 300 plus new clients in 2020 that are, multi-million-dollar brands to startups. And I said, those are your customers. My customers are my employees, right? That's who I serve. If I can serve them and show that I care, show that I have compassion, show that I have, leadership to where when things get tough, they know that things are going to be okay, then it's going to give them the confidence to be able to do their job better, right? And so, like, we did a little thing where I would do some individual one-on-ones, and I do that with every year with every one of my employees. I'll do some one-on-ones. And it was interesting because as a guy, I was always motivated by money, right? Money. I wanted a bonus. Money was my motivator. What I realized and what I found out is that it was about a 50-50 split between money and acknowledgement. Just acknowledgement. Whether it's a great job, whether it's an employee of the month, whether it's an email out to the team about how, Jasmine did a great job, whether it's a move up in the company, acknowledgement was right there with money, as it relates to what drives people. And for me, like, money doesn't motivate me as much now because I've got enough of it. What motivates me now is to see people, or to be able to impact people around me and to see them grow. I really get enjoyment from that.
That's amazing. And I'm sure a byproduct of that is inherently more opportunity and potential wealth for yourself, right?
For sure.
Do you guys do any type of, like, weekly team gratitude or anything? That's something we implemented about 6 months ago. And every Monday to start off the week, we have everybody share, and I'm bringing up the actual list right now. Everybody on it, we all get on a Zoom, and everybody shares something they're grateful for in personal life, something they're grateful for at work, a personal or professional accomplishment, personal or professional goal, a quality about themselves that they appreciate, and then a quality about somebody on the team that they appreciate. That's
great. That's every Monday?
Every Monday. I would highly recommend, because it practicing gratitude, by the way, like, obviously the little hidden bonus at the end is a quality about someone on the team that they appreciate. So it forces them to give each other credit and acknowledgement and compliments and stuff. But it practicing gratitude, because I've read a lot of books on, happiness and, developing, the best version of yourself, and practicing gratitude is key. And acknowledging just things that you're grateful for in life, just slowing down for 30 minutes a week. And I'm just looking at, one of my team members he's grateful for living in a city with a lot of beaches and parks. When's the last time you just thought, like, hey, I'm grateful to be living near beaches and parks? It just, it makes us appreciate more. It puts us in a better energy. It puts us, and it's a great way to start the week. So I highly recommend something like that if you're not doing it.
Absolutely. Gratitude starts with a good attitude. I always say, like, I have this saying where I say, say what you mean what you say, but don't say it mean, and that's so important that, to just, when you communicate with people and individuals, it's really, really important to know who you're talking to. I don't read as much as you, but I read a little bit. And Jack Welch, he has an autobiography, and one of the things that Jack Welch says, and for people that know Jack Welch, he was probably one of the most successful CEOs of our era with GE, and he, cultivated many, many Fortune 500 CEOs that were VPs for him, and one of the things he said was, he goes, one of my biggest mistakes I ever made as a new CEO was I treated everybody the same. And I was like, what? I go, what does that mean? Like, how is that a mistake? And he goes on to say, he goes, no. He goes, you treat everybody fairly, but you don't treat everybody the same. And he goes on to say, listen, the way I treat my VP of global acquisitions in Asia is different than the way I treat the security guard at corporate that guards the parking lot, right? You treat them all fairly, but not the same. And that really resonated with me, and how to speak to people and how to talk to people, like one of the things that one of my defects that I had, because I was so busy and I would be running all the time, is I always have an open door policy in my office. So when someone comes into the office, hey Doug, I got this question, they'll ask a question, and I'll still be working on my computer, right? I'll still be, and they'll be talking. I won't even give them eye contact. Or I'm on my phone and they walk in and they're like, yeah, what's up? And I'm on my phone. And it took my first employee I ever had, who's been with me for 23 years. I still have my first, second, third, fourth, and fifth employee that I've ever had.
That's wild.
In 23 years. She came in and she said, hey, I got to share something with you. And she shared, because I have a glass wall between us, and she would see the people's faces, and when I would do that. And to this day, like on that day when it came to my, acknowledgement, I don't do it anymore. When someone comes to my office, I put everything down. I stop what I'm doing. I give them undivided attention, and I look into their eyes and I listen to them, right? And so just little things like that where you have to fail to get better, that's the thing that, makes us all grow.
Totally. That's awesome that you realize that, because that's something, one of my friends, Dave, will always say, if you're going to be there, be there. And I think there's so much technology, and that's why I don't wear an Apple Watch or anything anymore, because I'm just like, I'm getting notified enough as is. I do my best to have my phone on Do Not Disturb now. The only notifications I get are text and phone calls. I turned all my social app notifications and emails off. Like, I'm doing my best to improve presence with
It's great.
with the people in my life, including team members, but just all people. Like, even my like, it's funny you're bringing this up, because I had to have like an adult conversation with my dad like 2 weeks ago. He was, the last few times we went out to lunch or dinner, he was just like on his phone half the time. I'm like, Dad, do you like, I was like, do you want to hang out with me and hang out with your son? Or is like, I'm like, what's so important on your phone? Like, because it made me, and that's probably wasn't his intention, but it made me feel that he didn't value our time together. He's just like looking at his phone.
Yeah, totally. And perception is reality, unfortunately, right? Perception is reality. If people perceive you as a jerk, even though you may not be one, you are.
Totally.
So perception is reality, for sure.
I feel that, and I think, I don't know if this is the case, because I haven't seen you operate a business on a day-to-day level, but you say you're not very smart in anything, and I think, regardless of if that's true or not, just that kind of belief that you're not like a god forces you to always be learning and growing, which is a good thing. But I would say, like, I kind of align, like, I'm a generalist. There's nothing I would say I'm great at. Like, Max oversees the marketing team, but if there is one thing, I would say it's just communicating and building trust with people. I feel like I've been getting better and better with that over the years, and I feel like one of the ways, or the main way I've been able to do that, is just continuing to be my authentic self. And when I'm like my true self, I think no mask, no bullshit, no pun intended with a COVID mask, but like actual masks, like, right. I think it creates a space for people to be their true selves. If it's, I'm sure now, like, it's wild, like, this shift I'm making as like a boy to a man, I feel like. But the Tesla used to be a part of my identity, because I'm like, I need people to think I'm like successful. Now totally. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna demand respect with my communication and my energy. If you don't think I'm successful because of me not having a car, like, you're probably not aligned to be in my life anyway. Like, that's been a transition over the last couple of years. I actually, like, I'll lead conversations like, I don't have a college degree and I don't have a car, and You know who kind of taught me? I mentioned, like, I have never, I don't think, talked about Bruce on any of my podcasts, but I'm mentioning him for a second time. I would be out in public with him, and he's a very successful entrepreneur, owns Brewster's, owns tons of real estate, very wealthy guy, owns a dairy. He's the only guy I know that owns a dairy. And when people would meet him, he would introduce himself and say he's an Uber driver. And it was just like, if a guy with that much success has confidence to just like, some people thought he was being funny, some people thought he was being serious, but I seen him do it multiple times, and I'm like, he's just being himself and having fun, and it just creates an environment for, I think, other people to be themselves, you know. And when you create that environment, it allows relationships to come easier and more naturally and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's just the little things, man. And I think that's really cool. He says he's an Uber driver. That's funny. But like, you know, it was a funny little thing that like I learned a lot of my abilities to work hard from my grandfather and my father, because I always worked hard, you know. But like one of the things that I always do, and I've done this for forever, is that like I never tell people that like they work for me. For an example, I was at one of my managers. He's a manager for me, and he's a producer. He's a successful guy with me, does well. And I was at his wife's birthday. They invited me over, and his buddies were there, and we were talking. He's like, "So how do you know Mike?" And I said, "We work together." I didn't say Mike works for me. I said we work together, and then that's how it was. And then the next Monday when we came in the office, he's like, "Hey man," he goes, "I gotta tell you something." He goes, "Dude, man, that was pretty cool what you said." I said, "What?" He goes, "That you didn't tell them that I worked for you. You said we worked together." I said, "Bro, we work together." You know, and so little things like that to make people feel significant is such an important piece of the puzzle, man. You know?
Yeah, I agree completely. A buddy of mine will correct me, and fortunately I think it's almost completely out of my vocabulary now, and I will say with, but he would correct me. It'd be like with, not for. Like, and I'm like looking back at it, I'm like, that makes sense. And they truly do work with us, because we would not have the freedom and the opportunity to grow in business and focus on what you're truly passionate as, which is like leading from a visionary standpoint, if you didn't have great team members to allow you to do that. So we do work together.
Sure. It's funny because we're embarking on a really big thing right now, and like I started a profit sharing opportunity for some key people in my company, which is significant for them because it gives them a very, very good opportunity to financially benefit even more as the company grows. But, we have a model where we do, multiple $1 million in revenue with a small staff that's in-house. And, with COVID hitting, we're working remotely. And we're now taking our business model and we're moving it and pushing it out remotely to where it's going to be a business opportunity for everybody. It's going to be for the stay-at-home mom, for the single mom, for the guy in Illinois, the guy in Texas, that's looking for an opportunity to make a very good living. And so we're in the process of building out our business model into a virtual model where we have 80 to 100 partners working our products and services and selling our products and services. So we're pretty excited about that, and couldn't do it without the team that I have, for sure.
Is this for the production company, the creative company, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. We'll have a suite of services ranging from continuity of $8.99 a month, $9.99 a month, all the way up to $50,000-$60,000 video distribution packages. And so anybody from working remotely can have all those, work within our system, our CRM, work within our lead gen platform, and be able to push these services out and sell business and get compensated on commissions based on that.
That's amazing. You know what? On that note, and I don't know if you've thought about this, and I don't even know if I've shared this thought out loud. I've been thinking the last couple weeks. One of the biggest positives from the COVID thing is to force all these companies to be able to work remote, and I think a lot of companies are seeing that they are able to do it. They had no choice. But I think a big positive, well, the one obvious negative is that commercial real estate could be impacted in a rough way, and that's bad because that could affect downtown situations. I think ultimately they can be transitioned into some sort of residential living or whatever.
Right.
Long term, there'll be some solution there, but short term, it's going to impact commercial real estate in downtown areas probably pretty heavily. But a big positive is if, you're looking to create opportunity for people, all Americans, right? Which I think capitalism is a beautiful thing for a poor person to build success, right?
Right.
I think car payments and car insurance and things like that are one thing that limits low income household, or not. I think it is. And if that family doesn't need to live in Orlando or live in a big city, they can live an hour outside of the city and get the house they need for their family at a half of the cost. Instead of 2 cars, they can have 1 car because they're not
Right.
both of the same people aren't having to drive to work.
Right.
I actually think cost of living in these cities like New York and SF and stuff like that is going to go down because people don't need to live there anymore like they had to in the past, which is
Right.
great because it's probably inflated anyway. Like I do think it's an opportunity for low income people to have 1 or 2 less things pinned against them. I don't need 2 car payments, I need 1. I don't
Right.
need to I'm not going to miss work today because my car breaks down. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
have more time to spend with my family because I don't have to drive 30 to
Travel.
60 minutes
Right.
a day. Like I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of positives to this from an economic standpoint.
I think there's tremendous positives to it. All the little things that you said, on top of the fact that it gives people an opportunity to have a better quality of life, right? I mean, like, look, I go to the gym. Like, I go to the gym in the morning, but like one day I went to the gym like at 3. I saw one of my employees there, right? And it wasn't like he was worried, because he saw the boss at 3 o'clock. It's that he's getting his work done. We know through our processes and through our reporting that he's working 7, 8 o'clock at night, working leads all over the country. So the quality of life that my staff has been able to experience, working remotely, I don't think we'll ever go back. Like you've been to my facility, and it's a large facility, and like we're into a lease right now, and because I did sell the building at the right time because I got a great offer on it, but I took the whole 2nd floor, which we don't even need anymore. So that's a cost of $28,000 a month in rent that I could push right into bottom line profits if I didn't need an office. But we'll probably go into a smaller workspace, really, really nice, open area with maybe some offices around the outside with like docking stations where people can come in 1 day a week, maybe, right? Or a couple times a week. Because some people do like to come into the office. Some people like to work from home. We want to make it a situation with our core people that they could do both.
No, I mean, did you know I'm on the board of Goodwill of Central Florida? Did you know that?
No.
So yeah, I've been on the board for a few years with Goodwill.
Nice.
And it's they do a lot of things under the radar. They do a lot of amazing things under the radar. What they've done poorly at, in my opinion, and I voiced that, is no one like knows all the cool things they do, but they do a ton for the communities. They are a nonprofit. The CEO, regardless of what the rumors say, or what the like rhetoric is, the CEO is vastly underpaid for the size business, because regardless if it's a nonprofit, you and me both know it still has to be run like a business.
Absolutely.
He makes a fraction of what he would make if he was running the same size of a for-profit corporation. So,
Right.
But there's cool board members. So one of the board members I had lunch with last week, he's a president of Truist, the BB&T SunTrust merger.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a president of one of their divisions, and Truist Bank. To give you an idea of like, this is even at a large company level. He said he has had a big office with a big desk for like 20 years now. They just decided, president of a division, they got rid of their offices, and they have a Truist like space now with like conference rooms and like rented office and like lounge areas and stuff where they can come to meet with clients or come to meet with the executives or whatever. But
Wow.
Truist Bank
Yeah.
across the board are cutting offices. I mean, it's not just like smaller businesses like us. It's massive companies. I mean, multi-billion dollar companies are saying, hey, we don't need to pay all this money for these corner offices for these executives anymore, because
Right.
they can work from home. And if they want, and now they have, if they want an office space, and again, this isn't a rep or some low level position. This is a,
Right.
president position, doesn't
Yep.
even have his own individual office anymore at Truist Bank. Like, isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's funny. And you're seeing that evolving, man. I mean, that just makes total sense when we really think about it.
I've also realized that, and you may know, like, as you're hiring younger and younger people, for the longest time, I thought being a business owner was most important, right? And which it still is important to me. But what I realized, which is more important than like having a business owner title or anything like that, is the freedom that comes along with it and the flexibility. Like, at the core level, that's what I want over like the business owner title. Like, I don't want to be a business owner that works 80 hours a week. If it came down to it, I'd rather be an employee that had freedom that could work 30 hours a week. If it was one or the other, I accomplish both. I want to build wealth and be free. So that's why I'm a business owner. But like, I value that freedom slightly above the wealth. And what I think we're creating too is what it looks like to be an employee is starting to have some freedom. As long as
Right.
A, B, and C gets done today or this week, I don't really care what you do. If you want to go pick up your kids, if you want to have lunch with your mom, if you want to, whatever it is, as long as the stuff's getting done, and I think that's great. I think it's ultimately going to make the population happier. I think it's going to allow us to have better longevity out of our team members. If they have flexibility and they can do the stuff they love, like, and they're paid, at fair market value, like, why would they ever leave?
Absolutely. Yeah, the flexibility and the quality of life has got to be something that, needed to be addressed even prior to COVID. The really forward-thinking companies, the companies that are really scaling, are the ones that really have that type of environment. And for us, we've had a good environment. We have a lot of we have, our average employee tenure is 12 years. And that's unheard of, man. And just.
Why do you think that
I
is? That's impressive. Like, how do you think you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, like, there's things we do, like we give a lot of vacation time. We close the office between Christmas and New Year. We do early Fridays. We do dress down casuals all the time. The upper level management and myself are I don't want to say cool, but like we don't lead by fear, we lead by example. And it just, it's a cool environment, but everybody, if you look at it, and you've been to my place, but everybody in the company is compensated. They get salary, they get commissions, they get overrides if they're managers, but everybody in the company, they have a bonus structure and plan based on business. Everybody, the front desk girl down to the guy that, takes the products in for filming and evaluation, every single person. So everybody is part of the engine, to grow. And so we're having a team like that where everybody's moving in the same direction, and has the same goal, it becomes a good environment, to work in. And we very rarely have to fire people. Like, you really have to mess up to lose your job, because we'll cultivate and we'll work, and our selection process is a lot better now than it was prior. But the environment is key. It's having a good environment.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, like, literally how many roughly total team members do you have?
51 on one side and 8 on another, so almost 60.
And all of them have some incentivization plan in place?
Every single one. Every single one.
If you're open
Even the
to
front
it,
desk.
we'd have to.
Huh?
If you're open to it, I'd love to talk about how you structure that. I think that's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's a tiered structure, and it's also based on department. But your top level producer, a $20,000 bonus based on driving $1 million in revenue, makes sense. the girl at the front desk that makes 15 or 16 an hour, to get $1,000 bonus, that's huge,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it depends. So I'd be glad to sit down with you.
Where do you want to grow your creative agency? Is that something you're still looking to scale?
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny because I was looking at different ways to do that. I was looking at possibly growing through acquisition during this time, meaning that, there has been some of the boutique agencies in South Florida because they've had local businesses that, clammed up during COVID and stopped spending money in advertising, and they kind of were going down. So like looking at growth through acquisition, through a couple boutique agencies that have, some pretty decent skill sets, enough client base, and good human capital to go in and acquire. But yeah, I'm looking at business opportunities right now, whether it's acquisition through the agency or business opportunities, in other verticals.
Totally. You know how you grow a creative agency, right? What I'm about to tell you is money. You partner with traffic agencies because we don't do much client work on the traffic side, but a lot of the clients, even successful, the reason we reach some sort of glass ceiling on their success is typically because their creative is sucky or stale or outdated. And our skill set isn't creative. Our skill set was paid media. It's a completely different skill set.
Totally.
So I think partnering with traffic agencies, not only would they be giving you potentially good clients, you'd already know their budgets because you'd be like, this is what they're spending monthly. So when they say 20 grand's too much for a site or whatever it is, you'll be like, I know what you're spending on a monthly budget. And if you want to scale that, you're going to have to invest in your creative. And we would do our best to consult and strategize for creative for these companies, but it's not our expertise. So I think there could be some not only a great partnership opportunities there, but they're going to be layup referrals because it's going to be like, hey, you're not going to be able to scale your business.
Yeah.
And the traffic agency wants a partner like you because they know that creative is everything in the traffic world. If you don't have good creative, no matter how talented you are as an ad agency, it's going to suck. So I would say some partnerships in that realm could be massive for you.
Yeah, that's good. I'm definitely open to that. And I'm going to go on record on your podcast to tell you, Jeremy, the next time you invite me to one of your masterminds that you and your partner Max are doing, I will come in. Okay. I will get a seat there. You have my word on it.
Well, that's funny timing you mentioned that because we actually just announced our new Founders Mastermind. I'll drop it, the link. The website just went live yesterday, so really great timing on your end. But I think it's tons of ad agencies and media buyers, and you would do really well from a strategic partnership standpoint there.
Do you guys have opportunities where if I bring one of my key people, we get a deal if we bring 2 or 3 of my team members? How does that work?
So what we wanted to do with this mastermind, and that's why it's called Founders Mastermind, is we wanted to have it as business owners. Because what happens in different masterminds I've been a part of, I've been going to different groups and retreats and stuff for many years.
Man. You invest in yourself. Yep.
Yeah, they just will send their sales rep to then just be that guy that sells. So we're open to a VP of marketing or VP of sales coming as the second person, as long as that founder or business owner is there with them.
Gotcha. You have dates set up?
Yep, we have. It's structured as an annual membership. We have 2 member retreats, and then we have our member meetups, and then we have our retreat, which is going to be in Turks and Caicos. So it's I'll share more with you offline, but yeah, we're really excited. We already have a bunch of members already confirmed in the agency space, in the payment processing space. A lot of these people that have ideal clients for you, and payment merchant processors for e-com brands and stuff like that would be another good strategic partner for you because they already know how much they're processing, so they already know their revenue. Just be like, hey, refer me to anybody processing over $1 million a year.
Right. That's a really good idea right there. I like that. That's a good idea.
On the traffic side, you know how much they're spending on ads, and on the processing side, you know how much credit card processing they're doing. So
good idea.
You know who's going to be a qualified lead at the very least.
Right. Good.
Um, you know what else? So the number two thing, you asked the two things I do every day.
Yeah.
You know what else I've been doing my best to make time for? I It puts me at a better place to do,
Massages.
well, massages I do a lot of. I would put this into the self-care bucket. So I guess what I'm about to say is self-care related. Some sort of audiobook or podcast every day. Um, Meditating. I use the Daily Calm app. It's just a 10 minute. I can commit
Same.
to 10 minutes. Great. You feel a difference when you commit to that.
100%. It's great.
And I have a group chat with a couple of friends where we do that on a daily basis. We list emotions and feelings, how we're currently feeling. List accomplishments, list things we're grateful for, list positive affirmations, and list goals every day. I have a group chat with a couple friends of mine, and just making sure every day, that's probably 30 minutes total minimum. I can obviously listen to more audio. Like some days I'll listen to 3 hours of audio or podcast, whatever, but committing to that 30 minutes a day, it just makes me at my optimal stage. So every interaction in life, whether it's with my team, a potential partner, or whatever, I'm just operating at that high frequency, and people want to work with us. I'm top of my game mentally, so I'm just investing and taking care of myself. It has been huge for me as well.
I think that's great. I mean, look at yourself. And you're young. You've got the communication skills of someone that's fairly tenured and have been in this deal for a long time. And communication and the ability to effectively communicate and to convince. Because really sales is persuasion, right? It's really persuasion, and so that communication is so key with that, and self-care and doing that, and I've done the same thing, man. I'm with you. Like I'm really big into that as far as like mind, body, spirit, right? And having all those fed on a daily basis is so key.
Yeah, it takes a while to like commit to it because it is work, right? And I guess that's the thing too, is there are basically, I would say almost every day, I'm just like, do I want to do this? Like, and I'll just like avoid it and I'll like put it off for a little bit, but I feel so much better after I do it. It's like a mental version of the gym, It's like you like give yourself a bunch of reasons to not do it, but then when you do, you're like, thank effing God I just went through this.
Yeah. You still hit the gym?
I don't like I'm my lowest weight almost since high school. I've been dropping a lot of weight.
I know.
I do physical activity every day. I will go to the gym sometimes, but the reason I don't commit to go to the gym every day, and I probably will eventually, but I have like home workout equipment. I'll do push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, planks at a minimum every day now.
Okay.
And the reason I started doing that is because I can commit to that every day. Where if it was like the gym, like I couldn't. It like there will be days I'll just put it off because I don't feel like doing it, and I'll do it literally right before I go to bed. Right.
There you go. It's quick. It's easy. You're committed to it versus going to the gym.
If it's the gym and I had a busy day and it's midnight and I'm tired, there's no way I'm gonna walk to the gym. But
100%.
I will do this, and I haven't missed a day in like a year of doing that. So, but the main thing for me has been intermittent fasting and cleaning up like my diet and stuff like that. Kind of my rule of thumb. I have like meal preps delivered. If I go out and I'm with friends, I'll basically eat and drink like normal. But if I'm like today, I'm working from home, I'm drinking a lot of water, and I'll eat, 2 or 3 really healthy and clean meal preps. So there'll be a couple days a week where I'll, eat the junk food, whatever. But 5 days a week, I'm eating, pretty strict and pretty clean.
It's good.
You're obviously a healthy and fit guy too, by the way. What services does this anti-aging clinic offer? I'm curious about that.
So basically, it's a combination of like our tagline is where health meets beauty, right? And so we have 2 parts of the business. One is look your best, and one is feel your best. The look your best is the outside: Botox, fillers, facials, skincare. The feel your best is on the inside: which is hormone replacement therapy, testosterone replacement therapy, vitamin therapy, and IV therapy. So on the feel your best side, on the hormone replacement side, we basically comprehensive blood work, a 200 panel blood work, a physical, and then an in-body assessment. Based on all that information, we'll put together a health profile. The health profile will determine where your levels are at. And that's really the key, right, is where your levels are at. And for me, how I got into this business was I was a client of the corporate office. And I went in there because I was tired, I was gaining weight, I was always just didn't have the energy. And then I saw my commercial realtor. I hadn't seen him in like a year, and he came into my office, and I just couldn't believe, like he looked like a different person. I said, what the hell did you do? And he told me about Forever Young. So I said, I got to go to this place. So I went to the place, I became a client, changed my life. I'll show you a picture, but changed my life. And then I saw these guys. I was at a Christian business luncheon, a conservative business luncheon, 2+ years ago in Fort Lauderdale, and I saw the two owners because they had Forever Young shirts on. And after the luncheon and the speaker, I went up to them. I said, "Yo, listen, I'm one of your clients. It changed my life. I'm an entrepreneur. I love business. If there's any business opportunities in in Forever Young, I would be very interested." And they're like, "That's so funny, that you say that, because we're just thinking about, franchising our concept." So I went from there. So I was like, I'm very interested. So from there, I went to, I had my financial guys, check it out, check out the business. We ran through the books. We, did a lot of analysis on the business itself, and ended up doing the business. And then that's.
Damn. That's wild, bro. You're looking ripped.
12 months difference from one side to the other. And then the only thing I did difference was I got my blood work checked out, and I was low in vitamin D. My cholesterol was high. I didn't drink enough water, and my testosterone level was at like a 185, 190. And really, at the age of 30, our body slows the production down of testosterone. So a good level would be 600, 650. And I was at 185. And so that's really the fountain of youth. So I went on their testosterone, I went on their hormone replacement program, started drinking more water. I go to the gym the exact same, don't do anything different in the gym than what I did. I just couldn't get the weight off and didn't build muscle. And it changed my life. My morale, my mindset, my thinking, my skin elasticity, just overall energy level. I was like, wow, this is cool. And it's a passion of mine. I love helping people. And I said to myself, if I'm going to do any other businesses, I want to do a business that's going to help people, right? And so I've turned down business opportunities that just were flat out businesses that just, wasn't really there to help individuals. I've turned those opportunities down. I'm always open for business opportunities and business investing, but it's got to be the right opportunity that has an end game to help people.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So are you involved in the franchisor level at all, or are you the franchisee?
So I'm a franchisee. We're the first franchise. I actually brought a partner into the business. His name is Mario DeLuca. He's in the fitness side of it. Really good guy. We're good partners together. We're their first franchise. We're the most successful franchise they got. And corporate level, they lean on us for ideas and thoughts. We do a lot of their beta testing on different programs because of our ability to run a business and our biz ops. But it's a cool thing. It's a little bit different I've never been a franchisee before, but they do give us the autonomy on our marketing and our businesses and things like that.
That's amazing. I feel that the market you're in is obviously it's infant stages. It's just going to continue to boom, right? What would be a good intro would be Jim, the current CEO of Brewster's, because he the one that scaled TCBY from a franchise management standpoint and just scaling a franchise, because that's what TCBY was and that's what Brewster's is. Brewster's has about, I think, 300 and something locations now. They're growing at a much different pace and by design, I think, than TCBY was. But that may be a good connect, just to like as somebody to maybe get involved and like help with the growth, so you just like avoid a lot of the mistakes I'm sure he's been making for 30 years, you know.
I think that's a cool thing. I could definitely do an introduction. They actually just hired a franchise director that came out of Midas.
Okay, well that's probably a good guy then.
It's funny. I actually got a meeting with the guy at 4 o'clock too, but he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy.
It would just be it just like maybe a good guy to bring on as an advisor or something, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, just another set of eyes and ears on all the shit they're doing. Because I'm sure, just based on what you're telling me, this is a concept that could scale to 100 plus units, right? I'm assuming that's their goal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're already at 11.
Oh wow, okay.
And they're looking to go. They're looking to blow it up completely. So let's let's offline. We'll do an introduction for sure.
For sure. What kind of revenue can one of the units do?
I mean, I think the top one right now is doing 5 million.
Oh wow.
In a COVID year, we did over 1 million in our first year. And so it's absolutely a business that can scale.
Is the target demo men, or is it men and women?
50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that God is important, and that you were at a Christian luncheon. Have you always been Christian?
All right, so it's interesting because I grew up Catholic, right? And I went to Catholic college, went to Catholic school, and not to knock the Catholic religion because it's got its part, but I basically, when at my Catholic church, we didn't read the Bible, we read the bulletin. And so when I got introduced to a non-denominational church, back in I think 93, that's when I really kind of started seeing this relationship with God that I didn't see going to Catholic schools. So faith is an important part of my life. I don't pound it on people, but they people know when they get to know me that I have faith in God for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm in that agnostic spiritual, I don't identify as any religion. I used to go to church when I was younger, but by the time I think I started in high school, I see the benefit, and I'm open, and I think I will keep an open mind as I meet new people and develop new relationships in life. Nothing has felt like the perfect fit for me, so I just haven't really fallen into any of those buckets,
Well, keep exploring. I mean, I think you still practice spirituality though,
yeah.
Jeremy, right? I mean, that's the mindset of treating people as treating others as you like yourself to be treated. There's practical principles that move into that areas that you're practicing right now. So just keep searching, man.
As you've built success in business and managed teams and failed in business too, have your political views changed over time, or have you stayed pretty consistent political view wise?
Never changed.
Really?
No. I mean, listen, like I said, no matter who's in office, I support them. I look at people's accomplishments. I think, from a political perspective, I have a conservative view. I have a capitalist view. There are certain things being in my geopolitical and my financial and my belief systems as an American is consistent with the conservative side of things.
Yeah. And that makes sense from I think most people, not all, obviously, there's a lot of super wealthy people that, and it's weird, certain industries I feel lean left, like Hollywood and stuff, they'll make all this money, but it's hard not to build wealth from scratch and not lean conservative from a taxation standpoint, because we work so freaking hard, take so many chances, have so many failures, and it's finally, after all this headache, I had made all this money, and I'm going to have to write how big of a check to the government? So it's very difficult for me to understand how you can't lean conservative maybe once you're like Warren Buffett or Bill Gates level of wealth, when it's just like, it's just you're generating and accumulating wealth so much, it's not even like, you can't even like fathom how you're doing it. So it's like, cool, I guess I don't care about giving half of it away annually, because it's just like, but when you're like working and when you're a small business owner or you're active in your business, it's really hard to then write a huge check to the government, you know?
Right. They were saying, like, who's the biggest employer in the country? Is it the government? Is it Walmart? The number one employer in the United States is small business owners, small business.
By a large percentage, right? Yeah.
Yeah, by huge. And so, like, I can tell you, you know, there are certain agendas that, you know, one side has that really makes it a challenging to small business owners.
Especially the biggest irony, and why I think I shifted, one of the reasons why I shifted, you know, a little more conservative during the last year, during lockdowns, the bigger corporations, which are who the Democrats hate on, the wealthiest people got wealthier because all the small businesses got destroyed. Like Home Depot, Walmart, Amazon, record numbers, right? Small retailers, small restaurants, small bars,
right?
Destroyed. It's like destroyed. So, but yeah, man, I enjoyed our time together today. Anything you want to share or mention before we bounce?
I just, well, obviously, man, I sit back and I watch you guys, you know, both you and Max, and I'm super impressed and super proud of you guys for where you guys are going. I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to come on your show, obviously, and I am looking forward to, you know, getting information on that mastermind and connecting up, and I'm always open for business ideas and business, you know, possibilities as well, Jeremy. So, you know, I appreciate it very much, man.
For sure, man. My goal with you, anything we do together, Doug, is going to be to reduce your workload so you can work less. Well,
let's do it.
That's my promise to you. If we do some business together, I'm not going to ask for much of your time, okay?
Or you can just come down and run my business for me.
I don't know if you want me doing that. If I can run it in 3 hours a day, then maybe we can work something out.
Thank you for listening to Openly Outspoken with Jeremy Adams. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player so you get updated when new episodes are live. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to support is to leave a 5-star review and share the podcast with people in your life that you feel would benefit from these types of discussions. Visit openlyoutspoken.com for additional details on the show. Find out how to connect with Jeremy on social media and learn more information about Jeremy's personal and business life. We'll see you next time.